Well, it's the fourth week for AEW Impact, and the ratings dropped again. They lost another 100,000 viewers again on this show. And I think overall that this show was a little bit better than last week. Last week, I mean, it was the Marco Stunt Jungle Boy match for me that totally took me out of it. And there's been a lot of chaos going on online. There's Kevin Nash, talking about Cody Rhodes and AEW, and there's just stuff all over the place when it comes to AEW. I mean, and that is a good thing. They're getting their name out there, but the ratings are not good, and it seems like no one wants to talk about the fact that they continue to fall. Because if you see, like, most fans, I get it, you're trying to stay positive about this product. You want wrestling to be good again, and I'm with you. I am 100% with you. I want this company to be good. I want them to be viable competition for WWE. But for right now, if you look at the ratings, they're not really good competition for WWE. They're barely even competing with NXT. They're beating them by like 100,000 viewers or so. NXT is falling. SmackDown is falling. We're going to be reviewing that on Saturday after it airs tomorrow. So, people are saying that this is like the best time to be a wrestling fan. And I understand what they mean by that. There's so many options now. You could watch New Japan, you could watch ROH, you could watch Impact Wrestling, you could watch SmackDown, you could watch Raw, you could watch NXT. There's NWA Power, which Scott Casey Gale is recommending that I watch and review, and since it's an hour, I'm thinking about reviewing the first episode or maybe the latest episode, whatever it may be. And I am a fan of Nick Aldis, so maybe I'll do that. But, I get it. But the thing is, for this to be the best time for a wrestling fan, I think there would have to, first of all, be more wrestling fans, meaning that the casuals would have to be involved, and that, number one, the product should be good. So, none of these products I would consider to be good. Does AEW feel a little hipper, a little bit cooler? Yes, I don't know what the hell they're thinking by doing this Rick and Morty thing next week, but that's a story for next week. We'll review that when that happens in episode 5. But for right now, we're going to talk about episode 4 here. And the show that just occurred on Wednesday, the 23rd. And so we start off the night, and they just go like right into a match right away, and I don't even think they did the intro. At least when I watched it online, it just went like right to the match, and they said this is going to be the tag tournament, and we had the Lucha Brothers defeating Private Party, and this was another spot fest. But I will say this, and I don't know what it was, but I enjoyed this match. I think it was way more clean than anything we saw last week, because last week was botch city. There was a lot of botches. Things looked a lot smoother. Now, there were a lot of kickouts, a lot of big moves and things were moving really fast, but I don't know. I like the Lucha Brothers. I like what they bring to the table. I just like Pentagon's look. I think he looks a little bit cooler than Phoenix. He's got a better outfit. And they're like really like clean in the ring. Also, I'm not sure if it was Phoenix or Pentagon. One of them like ran across the ropes, and I was like, wow, that was something else, to say the least. But it was good. But once again, I have to say, like, everything they do just cheapens it. How many weeks are you going to go with these, big, fast-paced matches? And I get it. This is why I keep on reviewing these shows. Because, not only do I enjoy doing them, but I will say this, that maybe they're just doing this because it's the tag tournament and they want to make it really memorable. But we all know that's not the case, because here we're realistic. I will say this. I'm still going to give it a chance, but we all know that what they're doing here is basically, they're catering to the marks. People want the ROH style. They want the big spots. They don't want any more rest holds. They don't want, like any brawls. They just want big moves, big spots, high impact. Someone's going to get extremely hurt here. Now, WWE does this, but they don't do it this fast. These guys are like, I think they're enjoying themselves a lot more, but they're not even being held back. You really realize that even though WWE's become so much more dangerous, it's not as dangerous as this. It's going to be a matter of time before someone gets really hurt, and they have had a few injuries. I am not sure if Daniels is really hurt and they just, they wrote him off the show. I don't know what the case is with that, but they've had other injuries. And it's, like I said, it's only, I hate to say it, but it's only going to be a matter of time before someone else really gets injured, because they're moving way too fast in these matches. And there's, not a lot of margin for error. And it's just dangerous. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but I know people are going to say this is being downer. Brad, you just said it was a good match. Let it be. I'm sorry, but it's just, I know that this is not the way that wrestling is supposed to be. And people are probably going to argue the point, and they're probably going to say that, Brad, wrestling is subjective. You can't really say what it's supposed to be. What is, what makes a wrestling match, what makes a wrestler, but we pretty much know, we've seen the good stuff, and I've seen people talking about it. Someone mentioned it to me about me being super negative in my last Dynamite review. They said I'm being negative, and that I'm spoiled. This is the craziest thing that I've heard. That I am spoiled because all I do is talk about the Attitude Era. See, the funny thing about that is, and I said that I would start mentioning more Ruthless Aggression Era just to be spiteful, because that still is a good era that I still enjoy a great portion of. But the thing is, I'm not lowering my standards just to satisfy a bunch of people. I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, this is forgivable for, wrestling not being great, because, I just need to lower my standards. Oh, is that what it is? Should I lower my standards? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to call it like I see it. If I don't think that this is the right style, it's my opinion. I think people forget about that, because they're speaking negatively about me, so you could just brush off easily what I say. Like I said, if you want to hear a more positive take on AEW, there's plenty of other channels, wink wink, poke poke, that that where you could obviously get that. One of the big ones, JD, like I've said on a number of occasions. I'm not scared of plugging the guy. Go ahead. He's very entertaining. Go watch one of his videos. If you can't take the criticism and you want to live a sheltered existence, believing that everything AEW does is right. Like I said, good match, but I know that this is going to backfire. And it's not like they have an enormous roster where they can really afford to have a lot of injuries with this style. It's not like WWE where they have like 300 guys doing the same style. So if someone gets injured on the main roster, they could just pull one of the guys from NXT. You could easily replace Seth Rollins with an NXT guy, and they'll probably have just as much personality. Anyway, so it was good. I enjoyed it for the opener, but like I said, we're gonna see another match like this probably next week when we see the Lucha Brothers. I'm not gonna spoil it because we'll talk about the next match. So they got this other guy where his name is I thought it was gonna be Warlord, but it's Wardlow. I had to like rewind the video to like see what it said. It said Wardlow or Warlow. I think it's Warlow. Isn't it Warlow? I think it's Warlow. Anyway, so this guy looks to be like probably the biggest guy they have on the roster. I couldn't tell what his height was from the video. He looked like he was tall. He looked really muscular. They showed him, working out like in the darkness. I'm surprised the guy doesn't trip over a dumbbell. It was so dark in that gym, if you could even call it that. But, it's a good point. I even saw on Instagram, I was a big fan of this idea. Gene Snitsky, who's had like a tremendous body transformation the last couple of years. The guy even like hinted about, hey, maybe I should look into AEW. And, it's a good idea. They need bigger guys here because how, with Luchasaurus out, and then you have Jack Swagger, who wasn't even on this show. I think because he had a Bellator match. See, this is the bad thing. I mean, he's going to have a Bellator match. God knows if the guy is going to sustain any injuries in there, because a lot of times during these fights, people do. So, I don't know. I thought he was done with MMA, but apparently not. So, but, whatever. The guy's keeping his options open. At least AEW is letting him, do what he wants to do outside of wrestling, live his dreams and all that. So that is a positive about being a member of the AEW roster. So, but this guy, like, I don't know. I'm saying it's good to have a big guy. I don't know who he is. That's not a bad thing. But, it's a video package. Could they maybe give us a little bit more on him? I mean, we're talking about a company that doesn't even talk about their own wrestlers. Like the guys in the opening match, we don't know anything about Private Party. We don't know anything about their characters. They're called Private Party, so we assume that these guys are party animals. But we don't really see it. You know what I mean? And like the Lucha Brothers, they're luchadors. They look cool, but we don't really know a lot about them. So we know they're from AAA. That's about it. If you don't know what AAA is, you'll just think that, they're talking about a travel company or you think that they're talking about baseball. You won't know what they're referring to, when they bring that up. I mean, like, you guys are joking because, like, you're wrestling fans and all that, but, like, they just take the audience for granted. It's like they get on TNT, they're on a pretty big network, and Cody Rhodes just thinks that everyone is just honestly like gonna know these guys. Like he feels like every single wrestler is a Robert De Niro, every single wrestler is a Bruce Springsteen, like every wrestler is a Beatle. Like you're just gonna know these people, like they're big time household names. And, like, most of them are indie guys. You've got the Lucha Brothers that are from Mexico. They're from another country. So you won't know about these guys unless you've spent hours combing YouTube and various other television stations for more wrestling. Failing to realize that people might see this as an alternative, tune in and not know who these guys are. And they just see a bunch of guys wrestling that some of them don't even look impressive. Like, you're looking at Private Party. Lucha Brothers, they've got cool masks and outfits. But, you've seen that already. You've seen, like, the luchadors and everything like that. So it's nothing new. So why would you stay tuned? SCU defeated the Dark Order. And, I don't get this team, the Dark Order. Like, before the match begins, they do, like, a video package. And it's just them hitting moves. Like, it doesn't tell us anything about them. Like, we know that they're supposed to be some, like, dark, like, satanic type of group. But we're not given a lot of details. Like, okay, we get it. You're trying to be a Ministry Brood ripoff. They've got gimps, like, coming down to the ring with them and stuff. I guess that's what they are. Some type of henchmen. Whatever the case may be. You look at these guys and you see Evil Uno, who just looks like a fat slob. It looks like Kevin Owens if he was even fatter. Wearing a mask. The guy just looks plain goofy. He just looks like a Chubbawubbikins, and you've got this guy Stu. Nothing says demonic, satanic, and evil like Stu Grayson. Like, Stu. I'm thinking of the dad on the Rugrats, Stu. Like, okay, I'm thinking more of Dinty Moore Stu than I am, thinking of evil, dark, satanic, ritual groups. Like, why are they not showing these guys like, trying to like sacrifice people? They're doing weird ceremonies. Take Stu or something, and have him sit in the middle of a pentagram or something like that, or have like a Ouija board, something like that. Do something with the guy to like do something with his character. Oh, they're the Dark Order. You know the rest. It's like, no, I don't know the rest. First of all, it's like I see Stu, I hear his name, and I'm rolling my eyes. I look at him, he's unimpressive, and then I look at his partner, Evil Uno, and he looks even more pathetic. So, and then you see these goofballs at ringside, and I don't know what to think. Like, why are these guys being presented to me? Am I supposed to, like, get excited for this? Okay, this was an okay match, I guess. It wasn't, like, overly spotty or anything. It was, like, again, like a million miles an hour. Even Fatso was moving around pretty quickly there, Evo Uno. But, once again, it was Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. And, so it looks like Scorpio is going to be in there for the rest of the tournament. So it's going to be, those are your two teams. You're going to see the Lucha Brothers versus SCU. So, at least there's a little bit of a story there. They injured Daniels, took him out of the tournament. So now, they'll get their revenge and everything. The funny thing is, it's like, why wasn't there a run-in or anything like that? You would think these guys would be at each other's throats, like, but apparently not. So, once again, like, opportunity to have a story is completely missed. Then you have, Kenny Omega defeating, Joey Janella, and they did, like, something like, I think, Joey had a match or something on the when they do the dark matches, they air it on Tuesday. It's called like AEW Dark. It's dark matches, and so Joey was scheduled to have a match this week with somebody else, but because the reaction was good, they're like, we heard your reaction on social media, so now we're gonna put you in the ring there with supposedly our biggest star. And I don't know what it is, but like, I feel like Kenny Omega doesn't really feel like the big star they intended to. Now, I know people are going to shoot this down right away. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, this and that. You're going to say like, okay, he's a big star and everything. He's made his name in Japan. People, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, when he was in there, they had Pac, yeah, they had him like pass out in the submission, and I don't know. It's like they did a really, like, first of all, I'm watching this now. What happened? What happened with Omega and John Moxley? What happened to the barbed wire broom, the barbed wire bat, and everything, and like and the whole respect thing with Moxley? I don't want to hit you, because you got hit from behind. It has to be a one-on-one. They've completely done away with that. So instead, the match is going to be later on tonight, Pac and Moxley. So they're like, we'll get to it later on when we talk about that match. But so we basically just have Omega here against Joey Janela, and and they booked this match because the fans cheered. Because listening to the in-house crowd has always worked out so well for WWE. Look how well it worked for Seth Rollins, right? Doesn't everybody love that guy, right? Everybody does. Didn't that work out really well for basically every single person, that they've ever put the belt on or anything? They went by remember the whole Kofi Kingston, the crowd wanted him so badly. Well, it turned out that only the live crowd wanted him because the crowd at home, well, they started tuning out of SmackDown in droves. So, best not listen to that in-house crowd, AEW, because it's going to come back to bite you. And you see that each week, the rating keeps dropping by a point, and you keep losing viewers because you keep on catering to your audience. Let's see how well that Rick and Morty thing goes over next week when you're airing cartoons on your show. You know, and this is the funny thing, guys. Like, I've said this, like, about WWE. I like the Muppets. I'm a big fan of cartoons. You follow me on social media, you know how much I love nostalgia. I'm one of the biggest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans. You guys know me, but I've said this about the Muppets in WWE. I love the Muppets. I love the Muppet Show. I love everything Jim Henson. But keep that out of my wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Do not, like on cartoons when they tried to, like, do, like, a parody of wrestling, and it's always just, like, the most generic portrayal of wrestling. Keep the things I like separated from one another, because it does not work. Stop trying to marry two properties. They're two separate fan bases. We don't need it. Just like Cody Rhodes coming to the ring in Star Trek gear. Probably the biggest Next Generation fan that you will find, but keep all that stuff. Especially if it's, like, associated with, like, nerd culture, do not put it in wrestling. Please, because they have a hard enough time already being taken seriously. We don't need all this other stuff. It doesn't make a lot of sense. No one's asking for it. All it seems like to me is that they are purposely trying to cater to nerd culture and things like that, and it's not the time, it's not the place. You're going to lose even more people because people find it cringy. Okay, but we're going to talk about that when that happens next week. We're talking about this week's show. So, like, and during this match, like, they're also really overdoing this spot on the ring apron. Like, it used to be special when someone would, smack their back on the ring apron because it's, like, the hardest part of the ring. Now, like, this guy, Joey Janella, sentons onto the ring apron, and he gets right back up, and he's taking it to Omega. And first of all, if Omega's supposed to be one of the biggest stars, another guy is taking him to the limit. So not only is Pac taking you to the limit, but also Joey Janela, who doesn't look like anything exceptional at all. Now, Pac, I can understand why Omega would have a problem with him, because that's a physically impressive, athletic guy. He's like a total package. So, that's understandable. But Joey Janela taking Omega to the limit? Like, so basically, are you saying that Omega is nothing special because everyone is capable of having a 50-50 match with Omega? Like no one looks dominant or tough. No one looks like, because everyone is 50-50. And the thing is, you guys hate the 50-50 booking in WWE. Well, that might be a little bit different with wins and losses. But when they have these matches where you're going 50-50 with the guy that you're wrestling, it doesn't make any sense. Everyone is going to have equal offense. No one could get the upper hand in a match. No one could dominate a portion of a match and then have a comeback. It's like they forgot about, like, heel versus face, and the face doing the classic comeback. That was a staple of so many matches. Oh, but Brad, you're living in the past. I guess I am. Because we should just have matches do the same thing over and over. 1,000 tope suicidas, and then you get a big spot on the apron. Like, don't even save it for a pay-per-view. Just go right into it and then get right back up, making the spot completely meaningless. Do you realize that when you do a big move like that, like the guy is putting his health on the line, slamming his unprotected back into the hardest part of the ring, and then he just gets right back up? You just cheapen the very move that you pulled off, and you're making it look really, really stupid. That was a waste of time to do. So Omega picks up the win here, And I really, like, I don't even understand that. So, predictably, Joey Janella loses, but it's like, is anybody, like, really sold on Janella? Unless you're, like, one of those people where, oh, wow, what a great athletic competitive match. I'm a fan of Joey Janela now. I'm sure there's probably quite a few people saying that. They think that's a success. People are probably loving this because they probably think that these are great 3.5, 4-star matches. You know, they're looking at it like Meltzer Magoo. They're looking at it from that type of perspective. This is great work rate. No one's selling anything. It's like, and that's the thing also with Omega. I keep hearing what a great worker the guy is, but he's the same thing. He's just going from spot to spot. Why am I an Omega fan? Why should I be an Omega fan? I haven't seen anything out of Kenny Omega that's, like, amazing. That's great. Where I'm like, first of all, like, I look at Omega, and not that I'm not going to say that he looks like a nobody, but he doesn't look like a somebody. He doesn't look like a big star. I don't look at him and I'm not immediately taken by the guy, saying I gotta stay tuned to see what this guy's all about. If the fanfare did not follow Kenny Omega to AEW and I wasn't, following everything on the internet from him, I would not know what to think of this guy. I would just basically, back in the day, he would have been someone that would have got squashed on Sunday Night Heat. I know a lot of people are going to be really angry with that comment also, because I know there's Kenny Omega fans that subscribe to me. I'm not saying the guy's terrible. I'm not saying that the guy doesn't have talent. I'm just saying that possibly I need to see more with him. That's because why I'm still tuning into Dynamite. I think that there's a possibility that this guy could just be a tad overrated, don't you think? Where he was like the PWI, like number one. I don't know. I think this guy just has a lot of hype behind him, and I don't think there's any way that he could ever meet it. I saw a lot of no-selling here, and I saw a lot of big moves that were well pulled off. I will say that. There was nothing really botchy in here, nothing that looked really sloppy or anything like that, but once again, everyone's doing the same thing. Everyone's doing a tope suicida. Everyone's doing a high-impact move. Everyone's kicking out of near falls. So there's nothing new here. It's basically like, okay, this is athletic, but everyone else is doing super athletic stuff. Pretty soon, it's going to run its course. And like we see, it's not really getting the ratings big time at all. Then we get this match, and this segment rather. And this was the big Kevin Nash controversy. So let me lay it out for you. So earlier in the night, Chris Jericho bought a ticket. Now this is something that always bothers me. If you work for the company, why do you need to buy a ticket to the show? I understand when they did the whole Goldberg, Brock Lesnar thing back in 2004 with, when Eddie Guerrero beat Brock for the title at No Way Out, and it was basically that Goldberg was from the opposing show on Raw, so that's why you had to buy a ticket to a SmackDown pay-per-view. Now, but do you agree with the suspension of disbelief that those two shows were separate? At least it made sense in a storyline context. Now, you've got Chris Jericho buying a ticket to a show that he is the champion on. I don't know. Somehow Kevin Nash overlooked that. That's where my suspension of disbelief ended. He had a problem with this, and I'll lay it out for you. So, Cody comes out, starts cutting a promo with Tony Schiavone in the ring, and Jericho and company, the Inner Circle, are in their private box, and he keeps blowing an air horn. He keeps blowing the air horn, right? And like Cody keeps talking, then Jericho gets on the mic and he starts making like sounds and stuff, and Cody gets annoyed. And, Schiavone says, we're trying to have an interview here. Then Cody, kind of threatens him by, trying to, put one leg over the barricade. And Kevin Nash basically said, if Cody Rhodes owns the company, can't he just have the guy's mic cut off? I mean, after all, he just bought a ticket, right? He's supposed to be a member of the audience. Now, I get that that's true. That might even be like looking into it a little bit too deep. But like, I'm basically saying you could have scrapped all that, because why does Jericho even need to have a private, skybox seat? He's the champion on the damn show. Now, I understand they want to sit up there, but like, why was like the ticket such a big thing and everything like that? And I know, Jericho tries to make it funny and he does a good job of it. So basically, Jericho says that, you wouldn't dare come up here, with just one person against four, because Swagger's not there. It's just Ortiz, Santana, and Sammy Guevara. Honestly, like that's not really like, when you look at Inner Circle, it's not like you should really be too scared of these smaller guys. Like, it's one thing if Hagar were up there, because it's like, wow, Hagar's an MMA guy, he's huge. No, he's not even there. So like, what is like Cody even like second guessing? I mean, still it's 4-on-1, but anyway. So Dustin comes out. What's his name? MJF or MF? I forget what the guy's name is. The preppy guy comes out. Anyway, and I think it's MJF, if I'm not mistaken. He comes out, the guy that like is supposed to be the big heel, but all of a sudden he's a face, or whatever AEW considers to be a baby face. I don't know. He's a tweener or something. I don't know what happened to him being the biggest heel, hating on the crowd and all that stuff. Then you've got Dustin, MJF, and then DDP comes out. And DDP got a pretty big reaction. I was happy to see him. DDP is now, I believe someone said he's 62. Is he that old? Really? I guess I know he started later on later on in his career, but whatever. Anyway, so they all go up, go up the stairs of the arena, and then Jericho then blocks himself behind the door. Cody punches the door, punches the glass, and I get it's plexiglass and all that, but like, he reaches in through the shards, pulls his arm out. I'm like, isn't this guy like, wouldn't he get cuts? I mean, what happened? Now I know that was real glass with Goldberg in the limo, but I'm saying, like, you compare the two things. Like, first of all, that looked really bad. Like, that was like some plastic or something. It's like, so maybe I guess you could say it's good that they didn't have him bleed or anything like that. But like, I don't know. See, the one thing that they could do to set themselves apart is maybe have some fake blood. Just, what's wrong with blood capsules or something like that? I mean, if the thing is that they don't want to blade, I totally get that. So don't do that. Use blood capsules. But they don't want to do that. So he just, comes in there. Cody Rhodes is Superman. He's just breaking through glass or fake glass or whatever. And then they go to the backstage area. They're near the concession stands and everything. And like, this is supposed to be a big brawl, but the camera was nowhere near the brawl. The only thing you really see is that Cody like quickly slams Jericho's head like very weakly into the Dippin' Dots. JR makes a funny, comment about it being Dippin' Dots and everything. And, then you see like MJF has like Santana or Ortiz with him, or no, he had Guevara with him. You can't even see what DDP is doing. So it's like they had DDP come out there for the pop, but you don't even see him. I think he had like a hockey stick or something. But then they like broke it up like way too quick. Like, as soon as they go back, their security is like, why not let them go? Enough with the pull aparts and everything. They do that in WWE. And the other thing was, I forgot to mention this, that really set off Kevin Nash, was that Cody Rhodes said this. He said, Jericho, this is not like the other company where, there's an invisible wall. I can come up there and beat you up. And I was a fan of that. Now, I'm not a big fan of like making everything like anti WWE and everything like that. But if they want to take a shot at them every now and again about like stupidity, but it's like, you know, it's not like when they used to make pot shots at WCW, WWE, because the thing is, it's not as popular as it is. Most people don't even know what you're talking about by that reference. Once again, it's funny for the people that are like, man, WWE sucks, AEW rules. That's the crowd that's going to get a kick out of that. I did get a kick out of it immediately. Call me a mark if you want, but, you know, the thing is, that was a good line. But, you know, as soon as he says that, he doesn't go right up there. I guess because Jericho convinced him otherwise, you know, that it was 4-on-1. But, you know, they need to do more of that. See, that's something that they need to do. Start showing that more. Start showing, like, you know, they're not going to have these guys just, you know, first of all, you also, I didn't even mention this last week, but you had Moxley walking out on Pac during a match. That's something that they've done 1,000 times during the PG area, having wrestlers walk out on one another. So, you know, do something. Stop having pull-apart brawls. Stop having guys standing in the ring doing absolutely nothing. You know, like Rusev just standing in the ring watching, you know, Lashley, you know, have his way with his wife. Like, you know, these are the types of things that we're seeing, you know. So it is a good point that they have. Like, yeah, we're not like the other company that's going to do that stupid stuff. Yeah, but you are still making a lot of mistakes, and you're not doing enough to set yourselves apart from that other company that you keep mentioning. And this brawl, like, there was no point in it. And Cody gets arrested for doing what? For pushing Jericho's face into the Dippin' Dots. Now, I will say I did like Jericho's acting. I had a ticket, but, you know, it's like, this could have been so much more. There could have been a big brawl, but this wasn't even a brawl. It was nothing. It was security came in there. They arrested Cody Rhodes for shoving Jericho's face into the Dippin' Dots. Like, you know, first of all, it was only on the Dippin' Dots stand. He didn't even get any ice cream on him. I don't know. This was disappointing to me. Young Bucks defeated the Best Friends. This match went on way too long, and there was 1,000 different moves, and, like, I gotta say, I'm a little bit interested in this Orange Cassidy guy. I thought that was funny how he was making fun of them slapping their leg for the super kick. I don't know if that was like he was just trying to signal for the super kick, or he was saying that those guys love to, like, the old thing about how you get that smack is by, you know, slapping your leg really hard so you get that sound, like the impact sound. So, you know, if that was what he was doing, that was funny. It's also burying them a little bit, but whatever the case may be. Orange Cassidy, during the match, also, he jumped off the top rope with his hands in his pockets. I don't know, like, what this guy is supposed to be, but I feel like he's a little bit, like, meme-worthy. I could see some funny things happening from him. Funny thing is, though, I see more personality from this guy, from way more than the Young Bucks and the Best Friends. And, like, I'm having a hard time just, like, hearing them call Trent and Chuck the best friends. Like, I'm like, like, you know, 2019, like, we gotta, you know, I think of, like, a Billy and Chuck, basically, when I hear the Best Friends, you know, they're hugging each other during the match, and, you know, I don't get it. Like, can we maybe get, like, segments explaining why they're so close? And also the Young Bucks, besides these guys being, you know, Dave Meltzer's holy idols, what are they? Who are they? Like, they're the Young Bucks. They're the vice presidents of the company. But once again, we're supposed to know who they are. Besides a brief stint in, you know, not so brief, but they were Generation Me in TNA and Impact Wrestling. So if you didn't watch them there and you're not an indie fan, then you're not really going to know who these guys are. You know, unless you subscribe to the Wrestling Observer newsletter where they're mentioned every other line, then you're not going to know who the Young Bucks are. So I don't know. Like, you know, I feel like the Young Bucks do have personality. They have God-given talent. I mean, they don't sell anything at all, but they do a lot of different flips that other people are not doing. But then again, it's like people are just doing lesser versions of their moves, and like they spam the super kick. Okay, they didn't do the super kick really at all during this match, except when they did it to Orange Cassidy. I don't know, but I was saying I think like the best thing in this match was probably Orange Cassidy. Like, you know, I'm intrigued by this guy. I don't know what happened to him the past few weeks. Like, one of the shows, I think it was on the second show, he was sitting in the crowd. But like, I remember when he showed up at like All Out, I think it was, like, we were all supposed to know who Orange Cassidy is, and I checked. The guy doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. So, like, that's how you know, like, that you should, you know, you should probably tell us who Orange Cassidy is. Like, we're just supposed to guess. I mean, like, how many episodes, when every single episode has had a lower rating, are we supposed to wait for character development? We need more. Give us more. You have 2 hours. You can't do more with that? How many great stories were told during the Monday Night Wars with 2 hours apiece? I'll answer that question. A great many. A great many. How many during... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to talk about the Attitude Era. During the Ruthless Aggression Era, how many great stories were told? Many. Many were told during a 2-hour period. Anyway, so we move on to Britt Baker defeating Jamie Hayter. And first of all, I have to say I really enjoyed Jamie Hayter's thickness. I really did. I found it to be quite distracting. But this Britt Baker, I am here to say that I don't like her. I really don't. I don't like her one bit. I'm like watching her, and I'm just like, first of all, I don't like. I'm not gonna say that she's unattractive, but I don't like her face. Like, I don't like her. Like, I just get a bad vibe about Britt Baker. I don't know what it is. It also might have something to do about this whole thing about her being a dentist, and like they're calling her MD, and you know, and like there's pictures of teeth and stuff like on her Titantron video and on the ring jacket she wears to the ring, and she like, oh, she's a dentist in real life, so she's got to do something with the mouth. Like, a mandible claw is like a bad guy move. As far as I can tell, she's supposed to be a fan favorite baby face. And the thing is, like, with her, is like her character is not a dentist. She just comes out and she's a plain girl. You know, I guess it's supposed to be, you know, female empowerment. She's a dentist, so, you know, she's a doctor. You know, like, you know, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be an anti-dentite here, but I have to, you know, say how I feel. What's the deal here with Britt Baker? I don't get it. I don't understand. Why is she popular? Why am I supposed to like her? She's botchy. She, like, does way too many sling blades. Like, she's like a big Finn Balor mark or something like that. I don't know. To me, this Jamie, you know, Hayter seemed better than her in the ring. Had a better, like, more unique look to her. And I'm not just talking about the thickness. I'm just saying she just seemed like she had more of a character. Like, Britt is not even doing anything in the ring to try to pump up the crowd. Like, she's got this big reaction. And I get it. She's from Pittsburgh, which I believe that's where they're doing the show. So, like, did everyone know she was from Pittsburgh, or because they announced it before the match? It was just a way bigger pop than I thought that she was going to get. She got, like, a bigger pop than most of the other wrestlers. Sound like she got an even bigger pop than the Young Bucks did. I don't get it. And the whole, like, you know, DDS thing is, like, I don't know. I'm not saying make her Isaac Yankem, but if you're going to hard sell the dentist thing, like, Make it part of her. Okay, she's a dentist. I get it. You said that 1,000 times. Great for her. I'm happy for her. Smart girl and everything. She'd probably be better off being a dentist than being a professional wrestler and probably getting injured. Probably having her teeth knocked out. Is it possible to work on your own teeth? I don't know. Is that, could you, like, maybe, I'm not getting into that, but anyway, then we go backstage, and this right here had to be the cringiest thing I saw. Jamie Hayter, like, gets attacked by Brandy Rhodes, and the backstage interviewer is looking, like, really confused. She, like, says, like, Brandy, what's going on? Then she does this. And then she backs away, like, doing, like, the only Stephanie face. Like, just, like, holy mackerel, holy cannoli. You want to talk about cringy? Cringy? That right there is cringy beyond belief. I have that finger, that face. It was like, I thought that you guys are not like the other guys, but I'm here, I'm looking at a Stephanie clone. You know, basically like one of the, one of the vice presidents there. You know, the wife is doing this, and it's like unexplainable. You're not even on the show. You're not even out there with Cody most of the time on most of these shows. You're so cringy. Talking about couples fighting at airports over on Twitter. Yeah, go check out her Twitter. It's cringy as hell. And I'm just basically sitting here like, what's up with the face? What's up with the backstage attack? Are you a wrestler now? You weren't a wrestler in WWE. So now you're a wrestler now, and you're attacking wrestlers, and like you're taking her out with like one shot, and like this big girl that was, getting, some good shots in on Britt Baker, and all of a sudden, like, Brandy's like the dominant girl, like she just comes in there and like, what was this? Like, are you gonna say something? You're gonna cut a promo, just point at the interviewer, like, horrible acting. Just, is that what passes as character development? Am I supposed to be getting something out of this? I don't know, but I'm going to say this, and I think I've said this in other things. I don't like her. Now, Britt Baker's just, I don't care for her, but Brandy Rose, I don't like her. I don't like her social media posts. I think she's a total SJW. I think she's got Cody whipped, if you ask me. I don't like her. She's an attractive girl and everything, but I think this is like, she's like a Stephanie McMahon. I got a feeling she's not a good person. I'm getting that vibe from her. I'm just basing it off of what I've seen on social media. I'm getting Stephanie vibes from her, guys. I'm seeing an AEW Stephanie here. And that face, screen cap that face, because that face is probably the cringiest thing I have seen. It's cringiest thing I have seen, like in a very, very long time. But let's move on to the main event. We've got Jon Moxley and Pac fighting to a time limit draw. So the first time they've done this, and I gotta say, like, I like that JR throughout the night was stressing time limits. He says, I like time limits. It gives the match a sense of urgency. And this is the thing why I have to still say at the end of the show, the highlight of these shows is the commentary. Tony Schiavone and JR are on point. And I mean, I'm loving what this guy said about Seth Rollins as it is. Saying that his girlfriend is, he hopes that he could be more over than his girlfriend someday, meaning Cringy Lynch. I have to say that, they just, this is such a great commentary team. I mean, Excalibur, alright, he's okay. I guess the guy is like starting to grow on me a little bit. He's nothing sensational. I just think, Schiavone and JR are good enough. Maybe put a color guy in there. You know, whatever. But anyway, it's great. I'm not going to complain about the commentary anymore because it's good stuff. And, you know, small things like that, like telling us why a time limit is important and why we should like it. It's a good point. A time limit, which is not a very present thing in WWE. It's something that's not even mentioned. You know, because they don't even really do Iron Man matches anymore. It's something that's not really talked about. Matches don't go to time limit draws. They used to back in the day, but they stopped that like in the early 90s. They stopped doing the time limit stuff on normal matches. And like, I can see why they brought it back here, because that's a good point. You know, that they keep announcing, but it also shows that the matches are going too long. Every single match they announced that they were at the 10-minute mark. Like, we can't get a 5, 7, 8-minute match. Like, everything has to be some big epic match where everyone is getting... Like, first of all, the Trent Beretta, Chucky T or whatever his name is, against the Young Bucks, Best Friends versus... That wasn't even a tournament match, and those guys are, like, doing 1,000 spots. Can't we just have a match where it doesn't have to be all out and everyone's kicking out of every single little thing under the sun? Anyway, I like this match. Pac, I just don't feel like Pac really needs to risk it that much. Just like when this guy hits a move and he just sits there, like on the mat and just stares, I'm like, this guy just... Everything I liked about him in the WWE, he is bringing over into AEW. I just think they need to give the guy more mic time, because I really think, like, you want to talk about Kenny Omega, I think that Pac is just amazing. Just everything from his look to his ability to the physique to every single time I've heard him on the mic. This guy, once they put him in the cruiserweight division, I don't know who talked to him, or if he just had an idea for a character, and whatever it is that he's supposed to be going for, the bastard character, if that's what you want to call it, it is really good. And even though it's like something that I could barely even describe, I like it, and I want to see more of it, and I want to see it developed, which is what kills me, because I feel like they just view Pac as a good athlete, you know, just capable of putting on 4-star matches, so they just want to use him for that, you know. And he's hitting the 450, he's doing, you know, a corkscrew plancha over the top and landing on his feet, amazing. But you know, and after that 450 off the ring apron, you know, he rolls Moxley back in the ring, gets up on the top rope, and then, you know, he goes for the red arrow. And the move misses. So he was hit with a big move that the announcers are putting over big time. They cut to a woman doing this, like shocked by the move, even though we've seen 1,000 other moves that look like that tonight. But somehow, yeah, you know, I don't know. Pac does these moves just, and they look great. I don't know if it's bias, but you know, it's just I think he does these things a lot better than others. Just like I think when the Young Bucks do the moves, they look a little bit better than the other guys. So with that said, you know, they go to a time limit draw, but it's like they've hit all these moves, and it's like, again, we're going to another stalemate. Like, is anybody better or stronger than anyone else? Is everyone 50-50? Is everyone like able to go toe-to-toe with one another and it all be even Stevens? Like, I'm failing to understand this. Like, what is, like, why is every match this way? It's boring to me to see like everyone just going 50-50. Everyone is as good as the other guy. Like, you know, so every match, anyone can be a winner. It's like, I know I don't want to have a match where I watch and it's like I already know who the winner is going to be. But I also don't want to see a match where it's ridiculous. Like, this guy can't beat that guy. It's a total stalemate. When's the match going to end? And like, you know, okay, so this match ended because the TV time ran out. I don't know if it went to 20 minutes or not. It definitely didn't feel that long, but like, I mean, man, they don't stop wrestling on this show. They're wrestling during the commercials, you know, and they got to show you the during the commercials. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know what the business model here is. I know it's supposed to be less wrestling and more talk. There was more talk this week. They did give us a talking segment with Cody Rhodes and Jericho and everything, but like, I don't know. They need to be doing more. This was definitely better than last week. I really did not like last week. I think the review spoke for itself, but I believe that this show was definitely a step in the right direction. I think they definitely did things better. The show just had a better overall feel to it. They did a few video packages, even though like the Britt Baker thing, I don't really get it. Like, why are they putting so much stock in her? With the dentist thing, if that's not even going to be her thing. It's more, I don't know. But anyway, guys, so like, and I have to ask this question to close things out before I end the review. Why are they giving up on the Omega Moxley thing? Now they're just moving on to Pac versus Moxley? Or are they going to go back to that like at the pay-per-view? I think I'm going to go with the latter, but it's just weird that they didn't address it at all on this show. I don't know. Anyway, also like no interviews like after the big brawl. Cody Rhodes gets arrested. No updates about Cody or anything. They're talking about he was locked up. But what does DDP think? What does Sammy Guevara think? What does Santana Ortiz think? They just had this brawl backstage. Not a really big one because it got broken up so quick. But what does Dustin think? What does MJF think? No, we don't get an opinion. No interviews backstage. No nothing. Because we got to wrestle, guys. We got to make sure that every single match has 150 different moves in it. So many opportunities to have a good show. But at least this show had opportunities. Unlike last week where there was no stories being told. At least there were some stories, and I just thought that the show was overall better. And, like I said, I enjoyed Pac and Moxley. A little too spotty, a little bit too much even Steven stuff. The first match was good spotty and whatnot. Guys, don't get me wrong. It's not that I dislike Spot Fest. There's many Spot Fests that I like, but I like a Spot Fest more inclined to the TLC matches in the early 2000s from WWE. Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian stuff. But, be that as it may, there are matches that, I could point to that are not those matches. But I don't know. They need to slow things down. They need to, rethink certain things. And I think they are starting to. I think there's no way they're going to be able to ignore that fledgling rating that just keeps on, spiraling down every week. They keep losing viewers, so they're going to have to do something. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. You better subscribe. Or I'll be like Brandy Rhodes and point at you and say nothing and just creep you out. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.